Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of best hair. And believe it or not, there's actually a pretty major downside to actually staying on time with your movie reviews. This year, I have to do the 420 special again. Normally that would be fun and new, but I started on the Evil Bong series years ago, and we still have several movies to go, as we see in 2018's installment, Evil Bong 777. The sequel to Evil Bong 666, of course, which focused on Lucifer and sexy hell, whereas Evil Bong 777 focuses on Lucifer and sexy hell. But this time they're in Vegas. And I really don't know how to do a plot synopsis for you for these things anymore. We went from a fun little horror movie about a killer bong starring Tommy Chong to the thinly veiled product placement Possessions, with recurring characters so annoying they shouldn't have even appeared once, but I digress. Anyway, I am a film critic. I do this as a profession. I am a professional. So, let's take a look at Evil Bong 777 and see if what happens in Vegas should have stayed there. We open up on a recap of the previous movie, which is kind of strange. I mean, this is Evil Bong 777, for Christ's sake. The plot has not mattered at all for a long time. Still, they felt they needed to devote 3 entire minutes to letting you know, hey gang, remember Lucifer, played by Mindy Robinson? Well, she started some shit last time in the hopes of reaching sexy hell, which inadvertently released the Evil Bong, which at this point is more of a character they feel the need to include rather than anyone important.
Help me enslave the world!
And you can help me sacrifice more people so I can open a portal to sexy hell?
I mean, they certainly talk a big game, but the problem is, in order for characters to really feel impactful, they actually have to do things that have some kind of impact. Anyway, gang was all here. Rabbit, played by Sonny Carl Davis, Robin Sidney being pseudo-Batty Boop, Misty, played by Jessica Morris, and of course, the Ginger Dead Man.
How the hell did you get here?
I whacked a demon in sexy hell and jumped through a flaming pussy.
You know, this might actually be a pretty hard movie to review. Usually I try and judge things based on, quality, but anywho, Lucy got the portal open, the girls got pulled into sexy hell, meet Beelzebub, and Lucifer plans more evil. They don't cover how the Evil Bong got out, but she did, and then she works together with Rabbit to create the Ginger Weed Man, defeat the Ginger Dead Man, I can't remember why that was important, and win somehow.
Wait till I get my revenge. It's gonna be so bad.
She ain't lying. That recap out of the way, which I'm honestly still surprised took 3 entire minutes. I didn't even realize there was 3 minutes of plot to that movie. We get our opening credits, set to the somber, sad tune of Wicked Weed.
Mean green, wicked weed, heaven from the devil's seed, fiending for it every day. You know I want that Mary Jane.
The traditional Evil Bong music, which is, still fun. It's still catchy, easy to sing along to. It's just, after so many entries have gotten so bad, it kind of feels like that trophy you have for high school football, whereas you've been working 25 years as a janitor at the chili buffet. Anyway, we're still at Venice, still at E.B.'s magical weed dispensary, except we aren't. That's a stock picture. And I guess they never bothered to rebuild that set because them talking about how crazy that last movie was happens in a parking lot.
I'd like to propose a toast to father.
Thanks, son?
And the Ginger Weed Man is voiced by Brooks Davis. I'm sure that was the burning question you all had right there. But what's this? A sexy portal is opening! Except no, it isn't. False alarm. Or is it? They are sure Lucifer is trying to get them, but Rabbit has a plan.
Give me a phone. Oh. There.
They're what?
There.
They're what?
He can't tell you until after they write the scene. I mean, how the hell else is he supposed to know? Turns out his plan was to call an Uber, or a splift, anyway, driven by none other than Tanya Tate. You may remember her from other feature films listed on IMDb, such as Seduced by Mummy 14, Lesbian Family Affair 4, Lesbian Family Affair 5, and Eat My Muffin, and other stories. Anyway, Rabbit shills more merch, Evie just teleports in so people have to interact with her even less. And then there's the plan.
Where are we going?
Where would you go hide from a oversexed skank and a demonic overlord?
Now, if your plan is to hide out in a church, I'm pretty sure Evie would melt as soon as you cross the threshold, but at this point I would welcome it.
No, the other place.
The salt mines deep underground? I mean, it's very secluded, really out of the way. Not the most popular spot to hang out in, and as a bonus, is probably the least haunted place on Earth.
No, the other place.
Writing class? Because as soon as the script has some semblance of standards, this entire plot line is just gonna get ripped the fuck out.
We're going to Vegas!
Vegas. Vegas? To avoid sex freaks and demons. That's like trying to avoid body odor and disease at PAX. Anyway, we're barely acknowledging the bong in the back seat. Let's spend a few minutes during the road trip to at least pay tribute to the fact that at one point in time, this series was in fact about weed.
Tonight we take the high road.
Yeah, sure, you do that while I take the exit. Well, looks like we're on the road trip part of the movie. Nothing to do here but relax, enjoy the journey, and
94 bongles of weed
on the wall.
96 bottles of weed on the wall. 96 bottles of weed. Take them down, pass it around. 95 bongles of weed. 92 bongles of weed on the wall. 92 bongles of weed.
possibly decide you'd rather walk through the Nevada desert. You'll die faster that way. Next thing is a little stop off in Sexy Hell. We get another scene in Sexy Hell which I really can't show you because much like last time, the entire landscape is gigantic, naked, headless women as far as the eye can see. But also, I mean, there's not too much of a point to show you this scene anyway. I mean, what do we learn here? Lucy Fur is trying to get out of Sexy Hell. And the Ginger Dead Man has been destroyed. You know, two things that have been established in the opening that we all saw, their whole recap. We do, I guess, get some nice close-ups of some topless demon babes, but like I said, I really can't show you that. Anyway, it's on to Vegas! Rabbit and crew have reached Vegas. Or more specifically, Full Moon has reached Vegas and probably didn't pay for this shoot. Or maybe they just felt like it was artistically poignant to have the Vegas arrival at night, driving around sticking the EB prop out of the window here and there, as the bare minimum to be like, see, we really were in Vegas. While everyone inside the car is clearly on a different set nowhere near there and have no idea what is actually going on besides, basic Vegas shenanigans.
Oh, look, Leedy! Look! It's that!
Anyway, the whole plan, if you could even call it that, was they head to Vegas because somehow this helps them lay low and avoid any problems with perverts, demons, and perverted demons. So now is the best time for the plot to finally...
Let's go see a show!
Or the characters can just play Follow the Jingling Keys and we can hope the audience is just as enthralled.
Hey, driver, take us to the best show in town!
They just drove from Venice to Vegas! I'm pretty sure the first thing they're going to want to do is catch up on 36 missed hours of sleep. Of course, best tends to have a lot of opinion behind it. So what is the best show in town? Why, verse Snatchy's XXX Fuppet Theater, of course.
What's a puppet?
Fucking puppets.
Oh.
They're puppets.
Yeah?
That fuck.
Lady, you just described half the cast of this thing.
I wouldn't mind seeing some mad puppets fucking.
Well, I was kind of hoping for something involving the culmination of weed and horror, not Jim Henson and Johnny Sins. Well, money's no object. They head in, take their seats, and we are legit just stopping the movie to watch a fucking show.
Welcome to Versnatchies, perverts.
And are any of you gonna question the fact that she just materialized out of thin air there? It seems kind of strange to me. Anyway, Versnatchy, played by Tanya Kaye, gets everyone ready for the Fuppet Show.
Let's hear it for throw your panties on the stage for Pelvis!
Yeah, well, depending on how long he's been working at Vegas, Pelvis over here is gonna have a hunka burnin' while he pees. Unsurprisingly, Pelvis is this god-awful Elvis thing. Far more surprising, though, is that he ain't fucking a puppet. And yeah, this was unexpected. No. Nudity, sexuality, that's always been in the DNA of Evil Bong. Since the first one, Bong World was a strip club. But here, they're just grunting and grinding and gyrating, and it is just softcore porn. It's just how it is. It's just softcore porn. And I'm wondering if that was always the plan to be quite like this because,
Here I come.
Anyone else notice that? This particular part that's been digitized over, the part coming out of pelvis, pelvis. Did they have to digitize out a puppet penis to keep this from being rated adults only? I mean, I already seen this series go downhill so far that it's already got about as much plot as a porno, but to see it just go full bore down that path, it's like, it's nothing sacred anymore. After the show has reached its, climax, well, that's all the fuck it. Time to leave.
As a purveyor of fine theater, I found it infinitely engrossing.
The emphasis on perv and gross.
You know, lampshading, it doesn't change the fact that you put that shit in your movie. Now, watching it a second time, I noticed that several shots seem to be cropped a little strangely, not at all like a particular dancing Egyptian cat, so I'm wondering if my previous concerns were very much freaking validated. So, now what?
Take us to the finest budget shithole.
Oh, just continuing to aimlessly move from scene to scene. Should have known. Let's hope they have other ideas of how to make the next location stand out and be entertaining for us.
It's haunted.
Yikes.
How haunted?
Cheap as fuck haunted.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. But as soon as they enter, it becomes a terrifying house of horrors near instantly.
Have no fear. Rabbit is here. And Rabbit want to get laid.
Oh, get off me.
It's worth a try.
You'd think after so many movies he'd realize that he's only ever made any progress with terrifying demonic entities that want his soul. And possibly some weed.
Doesn't seem to be anybody here.
Try the bell, fucking genius.
Is there any reason they don't just carry EB around with them? They carry the ginger weed around. What's one more prop? The hotel just so happens to be haunted by the Heshers. Remember how Lucy stole their souls in the last movie?
Yeah, man, we totally, died last time.
Well, I guess the souls got loose because here they are in Vegas running the hotel. How? Well, you see, they explained their families got together to try and have an intervention. One thing led to another, and everyone there fucking died. Not them, though. They didn't go to the intervention.
We were too high.
Ignoring the fact that they all were already fucking dead. I mean, maybe all of this happened before they died, but if death means you don't own the family business... Anyway, these guys talk way too slow, considering the fact that while the dialogue in the movie tends to be pointless and tell us nothing, these two really tell us nothing. We learn that one is taking estrogen. I think that's supposed to be funny. I have no idea how it works post-mortem. It's kind of hard to convince me that you don't feel comfortable in your body when you don't even have a body anymore. They show Rabbit to his room, incredibly slowly, and this whole scene takes an entire minute to get them to open one door, then explain that the girls can take whatever, because it doesn't matter because they're the only ones there anyway. Rabbit is shown to be happy to have his room, and the next thing that happens that is mildly important, depending on your standards, is Batty's romantic interests in the ginger weed man. Yes, she is a human clown of questionable mental fortitude, and he is a day-old baked good, but nothing shocks me after Pelvis. She comes onto the cake, and he reciprocates. Fortunately for me, though, despite the fact that she was in the front row earlier, she somehow has absolutely no idea how this works.
This is so hot. Oh, toasted out here.
Just jumping up and down frantically, while objectively not having sex. Including plot-wise, the ginger wheat man is very overt about his disappointment in how things did not turn out. Misty gets a room with Evie, though, and as such, Evie does as Evie does best. Tries to corrupt her with the power of weed.
Feeling better? Chill?
No, not really.
The fuck?
High tolerance.
Yeah, I thought I could handle anything after I spit in your grave, but this shit, jeez. What do you want from me? This movie ain't even an hour long, but I am spending the entire time painfully waiting for whatever scene I'm in to end, simply because it is so transparently pointless. Take Joe Cracker, Redderneck, and Crack Whore over here. They have absolutely no relation to anything or anyone in the story whatsoever. Yet here they are, and here we are, listening to them recount some harrowing tale of something for minutes on end.
Sometimes when life gives you shit, you make other shit.
Despite my better judgment, she wanted to give Big Sloppy a breather. You know, and I'm all, don't tell me what.
I tell you, damn near fell off and slid across the floor.
So, we was working on our cans.
At what point during this entire exchange am I expected to give a shit? So how's things going on with Gingerweed over here?
Oh, my green balls have turned a frightening shade of blue.
I would ask why during the climax of the previous movie, evidently they weren't sure to include nuts on the guy, but of course they were. No bother for Batty, she's willing to go for round 2, deciding to slip into something more comfortable. However, as soon as she is out of frame, the Gingerweed man is sure to call an escort. In a situation where that is probably the least necessary in all of human history. Rabbit also meets someone at the bar, Rendezvous, played by Alina Madison. You might have already suspected this, but this is entirely pointless, doesn't do anything for the overall plot, and is more just the movie spinning its wheels. So, why am I showcasing it? Well, it's simple. At this point in the review, I gotta show you something, and the only other thing going on right now is the Gingerweed man fucking the fuck out of the escort in the other scene. And yeah, it's soft core, but they ride that line of soft really fucking hard here. Which just so happens to be going on while Batty was getting all dolled up.
Holy poop.
There, finally, we have some conflict. Insane conflict from insane characters in an insane story, but at least it's some semblance of something to latch onto, to tell some kind of arc, cause and effect.
Don't you like my boob and blood?
I do like your boobs. Crikey! Oh, whoa! Look at that!
So of course there is no fucking conflict, and they just fucking start fucking right there. Though I should mention, not like the others. They did get Robin Sidney to show a lot of skin in this, but they didn't get her to go that far. So how about Misty's character arc? She got a makeover. Hope that's enough for you, because that's all we get. Better than Rabbit anyway. He starts and ends the movie with the flat character arc as usual. But this is despite him, yet again, going through things that should cause him to question his life choices on some level.
Don't act like you didn't know.
Surprise! The lady with the broad shoulders and narrow hips is packing more meat than you.
I'm not saying anything, because what happens in Rabbit stays in Rabbit.
You were sucking dick, weren't you?
I didn't suck anything.
Hey, Rabbit, if you wanted to get laid in this movie, you should have shown up made out of paper mache. Anyway, about 10 minutes of movie left. They figure it's time to leave because the climax is bound to start sometime. Wouldn't you know it? Back at sexy hell. Half the population is still topless demons and the landscape is giant naked women, so I'll just let you know. Lucifer calls to the power of Satan. Like a different one. And gets the Ginger Dead Man to come back from the Ginger Dead, but he comes back as the Ginger Dead Man and the Ginger Dead Woman, which are two beings, but the same entity. I really don't know how that works. I don't know if the writers know how that works, but the point is, they killed Beelzebub. Off screen, you didn't actually miss anything with that one. Now that the climax has started, though, where are they going to go?
Look. EB's Magical Weed Dispensary.
Back to the fucking store that happens to just be right there in the middle of Vegas. This entire series has revolved around them starting in the store, a bunch of random bullshit happens, and then they end at the store, and there is no deviation from this, no matter how little sense it makes. Rabbit says this is the one run by Phoebe, who looks like Lucy, but isn't Lucy because she's Phoebe.
All these bitches look the same to me. And these stories are confusing as fuck to keep straight.
And just like that, Evie is my favorite character again. Rabbit thinks the best bet to deal with the threat of Lucifer coming back from sexy hell for revenge is to get really, really high. Not that they have super weed or magic weed or have established any kind of weed powers leading to this whatsoever. It's just an evil Bong movie, so the characters are expected to get high at some point.
You got anything to help us?
Funny you should ask. I've been working on this magical, vaporless, odorless pocket dab hit.
or it's just another extremely overt case of shilling merch. When the fuck did I start reviewing commercials and porn? Once the commercial break is over, Lucy is back.
How the hell did you get out of sexy hell?
The old-fashioned way. Murder.
Tried and true, I guess.
Hey, rabbits. I can't help but notice that the entire plan for this to come down to Vegas was because you said it was the place that you could avoid sex fiends and demons, and you would be able to hide from Lucifer. And wouldn't you know it, that as soon as Lucy managed to escape from sexy hell, she appears right fucking here with no need to search for you whatsoever, almost like that entire fucking setup was total bullshit. Oh, Lucy and Phoebe are sisters, if you care. Anyway, everyone else just decided to say fuck it and leave. But what now?
I think we should split up.
That's so stupid.
That's sad when even the characters of Evil Bong know how bad of a strategy that is. Rabbit's got an idea, though. Run into this handy-dandy horror museum, filled to the brim with all kinds of classic horror paraphernalia that Full Moon absolutely did not pay the licensing rights for, and several of which have questionable relationships to horror.
What do we do? What do we do?
I've got an idea.
Right there, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Loved it, reviewed it. Camera came out strangely yellow for some reason, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. May I ask what the fuck they're doing there? Either way, Lucy is coming with an axe, but the cast is hiding, masked, hoping to be unnoticed. But a rabbit's laugh gives him away. Except...
Oh, you're gonna die now! No! Oh, I'm gonna be back, you bitches!
She just gets pulled through a portal back to sexy hell. Or to somewhere, I don't think it's really that specified, but... Okay, so the call to action wasn't a call to action, and then they just did a bunch of random bullshit with no actual fucking plot through line at all, and then it just ends itself. Fucking Evil Bong movies. So, the end. They live, Lucy's gone, for now. And we gotta wait for the horror of what else the studio has in store for us. But one last horror for our eyes before the road. I can't help but notice the Ginger Dead twins were superimposed over Pelvis's, pelvis right there. Were they originally in the shot, or was that done to cover up, You know, that was Evil Bong 777. Ugh. Every time I think it can't possibly get any worse, yet somehow they manage to surprise me. This series has been treading water for a while at this point. I fully expected an hour-long movie with a disjointed plot that is ignored for the majority of the runtime with cameos, commercials, and crappy comedy. I absolutely did not expect the Fuppet Show. Also, I am a firm believer that nudity and even sexuality does not inherently mean something is pornographic. Just look at my visual novel. Fan service is a thing. Erotic themes can be used to great effect, especially in horror, much like we saw in Evil Bong 1. The Fuppet Show is a completely out of left field, stop the movie and have a subscene scene where the entire point is just everyone sitting and watching someone getting fucked. It has absolutely nothing to do with the overall story, has no relation to any characters, and doesn't create any tension, solve any problem, or make any statement outside of just how ridiculous these movies have become. Gingerweed Man fucking the escort was even more graphic, but at the very least had some bearing on characterization, even if it was immediately forgiven and forgotten. So, spending a while complaining about the Fuppets, but what else even is there to say? The characters are unchanged to the point that Misty going full makeover from hippie to goth has no effect on anything. Lucy got out of hell 1 second, then just got sent back for no apparent reason, and the movie was over. Oh boy, really hyping me up for the next entry with this crap. Unsurprisingly, Evil Bong 777 is a painful flick to sit through, and I do not recommend it, coming in at 1 concealed carry out of 5. And perhaps it's a good time to remind you all of the sunk cost fallacy. I mean, just because I have spent so long, over so many years, reviewing the Evil Bong franchise, that doesn't really mean anything. I could just stop. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Thank you all for watching. I have been Shado, And remember, I can quit whenever I want.
God damn, this is some crazy stuff. Sick motherfuckers making this shit.